Good morning and welcome. Welcome back to our Tuesday, May 27th, May 28th, May 28th edition Gumball Sports Machine. I'm your host, Jamal Gumo, aka Gumball. And of course, I'm joined by the one and only David Largo, my boy, D'Lo. D'Lo, what's going on, man?
Everything's good, living the dream.
Yeah, man. Hey, bro. Got to, bro. Maybe somebody else's dream, but it's a dream.
It's a dream.
um, let's get right into it. And brought it up. We brought it up yesterday. Our first segment, brand new first segment. The segment we start every show with. It's called "Something to Chew On." First topic in "Something to Chew On." The Boston Celtics move on to the NBA Finals after completing the sweep over the Indiana Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals. D'Lo, you watched the game last night. What were your overall takeaways from not only Game 4 but the entire series?
Um, I'm thoroughly surprised, and I actually think it's good that the Pacers competed the way that they did. I mean, um, no Tyrese Halliburton. We mentioned it for Game 3, out Game 4, and they're down by 3 points, losing this game, and I think the thing that really sucks is that they were up 8 with about 5.5 minutes left, and they just stalled out in the final 5 minutes of the game. But um, I'm excited to see. They could have stole two games in Indiana, um, and so if they had Hallie, I could have seen it happening. They would have won both games in Indiana. They would have went back to Boston 2-2, right? But it's unfortunate. Um, Jalen Brown played well. Jason Tatum played well. Um, Derek White, I'm sure we'll talk about him when we talk about the game more in depth. But um, the Celtics are looking pretty good against either one of the Western Conference teams. Um, and again, it's still just that question: where's Kristaps? Um, how long is he going to be out until eventually we get him in there? So
Okay. Oh, lots of criminal activities going on here. Look at that.
yes, sir.
As we welcome in Kev Shiesty. Kev, what kind of laws are you breaking today, brother?
Shit, I don't know yet. Still early in the morning.
Okay. Um, well, we were Kevin. This is your first show being here since the new format. So what we're doing is this is the our regular first segment where we're gonna do every morning. It's called Something to Chew On, and it's a segment that we go through all the top stories of the day, the top sports stories, the biggest stories nationally that are kind of taking over the news world. And obviously, um, last night Boston completes the sweep over Indiana, goes to the finals for I think the fourth or fifth time in the last 6 years. So nothing new to them. What were your takeaways from not only Game 4 last night, but the series in its entirety?
There's not much to talk about. It was pretty much all Celtics all the way, and Indy never had a chance. That's pretty much all I gotta say.
Um,
Especially with Tyrese Halliburton being injured as well.
yeah, and we're gonna get deeper into it. But one of the things I'm gonna stress is I think Indy should be up 3-1 right now. That's just personally what I think. Indiana should be up 3-1 right now as we speak. D'Lo mentioned it earlier. Indiana played well enough to win at least 3 games in this series. 3 games in the series. Now, again, you're losing Tyrese Halliburton, their best player in Game 2, but the role player stepped up. Andrew Nemhard is big time. Pascal Siakam is big time. So, but I don't want to get too deep into it. We're gonna get a lot deeper into it here in about 10 minutes or so. Um, Next, D'Lo and I kind of mentioned it yesterday, and then it was kind of breaking. We didn't really get to talk about it too much. But two-time NBA champion, two-time NCAA champion, one of the greatest college players to ever step foot on a basketball court. And I think just a great human being in general. Bill Walton, NBA Hall of Famer, passes away yesterday at the age of 70 from cancer. Kev, I want to ask you, do you have any memories of Bill Walton? Do you anything that kind of reminds you of Bill Walton that we can kind of honor him by today?
Honestly, there's only two things, and it's not been like big. Using him in 2K My Team, and him being Luke Walton's father as well. That's pretty much all like I really just knew about him.
What about you, D'Lo?
I actually saw Sports Center tweeted it, a video of his best highlights as a commentator, and it was good to watch. He's such a character, such a fun personality, such a fun person to be around. From what it seems, just a really overall good guy. And then I also saw Larry Bird's statement. Obviously, he played with Larry Bird on the Celtics towards the tail end of his career, and so I think just the impact that he's had on not only the basketball world, but also just in general, and with people around him. Um, what a great guy, and it sucks to see him go so early.
Yeah, no, it's definitely shocking to me. That's not something I was expecting to hear last night or yesterday. But Bill Walton, obviously, he was a fantastic basketball player. He again, two-time NBA champion, a six man of the year, an MVP. Again, like I said, one of the greatest college players to ever play the game. But I mean, personally, the experience that I had with him, I wasn't alive when he was playing. That's kind of just the research that I did and kind of seen the highlights. But he did obviously before the Pac-12, collapsed into shambles. He was doing Pac-12 basketball. I'm a college basketball fan, probably not as much as I should be, but he's so I used to love watching him, listening to him, Dave Pash do those Pac-12 games, ASU games. Watched a lot of the majority ASU games. So it sucks. I mean, it's really nice to hear people honor him and talk about how good of a man he was. I mean, he was one of those guys where it's like he wasn't happy unless he was able to make other people happy. And people like that you love and you cherish and you honor. And that's exactly what Bill Walton's kind of he was. And so I'm glad that that people are recognizing him for who he was, not only as a basketball player, but as a human being. It was unfortunate. It was unfortunate, but he's in my prayers and thoughts and condolences go out to the Walton family. Next up, the other side, the Western Conference Finals. The Mavericks are up 3-0 on that in that series. Game 4 is tonight. We may talk a little bit about it later in the show, but D'Lo, will Minnesota be able to take one? I mean, even though in Dallas, will they be able to avoid the sweep tonight?
It really all depends on one man, in my opinion, and one man only. And that man is Karl Anthony Towns. He has to shoot the ball better. He has to defend better. He has to be an all-around better player, but especially on the offensive end, they need his output if they want a chance at winning this game. Ant is going to do his thing. Jared is going to do his thing on both ends of the floor, 3-and-D guy. We know what Gobert gives you. Mike Conley, veteran presence, but I think the key here is Cat, and he has to play well if they want to win any games in this series, not just tonight, but moving forward. If they want to be the first team to overcome 3-0, he has to play better.
What do you think, Kevin?
I like you bring up Cat, and he's been struggling a bit. But I think the biggest thing, because you guys saw Game 3. I mean, they should have won, but they collapsed in the fourth quarter. I mean, Ant had a good game, but I think honestly, instead of being Cat stepping up, I low key want to see a monster game for Nas Reed tonight. And I think he's got something to prove. And if he has a monster game, we could see lineups of him getting more minutes between Cat and Gobert because his versatility on both ends of the court. He's able to shoot the ball. He's able to dribble and pass the ball as well. And then on defense, he's able to switch, which is a very important thing in today's world in the NBA. But I think the X factors for tonight's game is definitely Nas Reed.
Yeah, no, it's something. And on yesterday's show, I called out Anthony Edwards. I called out Anthony Edwards along with all of his fans that have been kind of going crazy for him throughout this whole entire playoffs. Where has he been? He was 17 for 53. 17 for 53 in the past 4 games. In the most important critical times. Yes, they won game 7 in Denver. Right? They won game 7. They haven't won a game since then. And Anthony Edwards has not played well since then. So he needs to show up tonight if they want to go back to Minnesota for at least a game 5. And Karl Anthony Towns, I mean, he said he's putting up 1,500 shots a day. I couldn't tell. You could have fooled me. 0 for 8 from 3? Yeah, no. So I agree with you guys. The stars have to show up for Minnesota. They do. Jaden McDaniels has showed up the entire playoffs. Mike Conley, the same thing. Rudy Gobert is out there to be a 5th man. I don't know what he's doing. So, yeah, the stars are going to have to show up for Minnesota for them. They're going to have to outplay Luka and Kyrie tonight. Is that possible? If I was a betting man, I wouldn't put any money on it. But, well, yeah, they're going to have to show up in order to go back to Minnesota.
I will tell you this.
Next,
though,
this
is if they can take tonight's game and then they go back and win in Minnesota, if it's 3-2, it could be a pretty tight series after that.
They could. They could make it interesting. But again, those stars are gonna have to show up and show out. Next, again, this is kind of one for me that I can kind of go off. I know you guys aren't baseball guys. Longtime Major League Baseball umpire Angel Hernandez is retiring. He umpired his first Major League Baseball game in 1991. He has done some of the worst umpiring I've ever seen. Now, again, I understand, he has a family, and so I don't want to disrespect the man too much. He is one of the worst umpires baseball's ever seen, if not the worst. Some of the worst calls I've ever seen made. And it's not just me who's thinking that. So again, he had the job for a long time for a reason. So he was good enough to get there. But in the past about 10 years, he has done an absolute screw job. It has been awful. It has been terrible. So again, I guess congratulations to Angel Hernandez for a long career and being able to retire, and I think coming up with an agreement with the MLB, financial agreement with MLB. But I wasn't a big fan, as you can tell. I would ask you guys if you had anything to say about it. I doubt it. I don't even think you guys know who Angel Hernandez is.
I mean, but as a sports fan, we can kind of relate to that. I mean, there are refs in any league that you kind of just want to see go. If you ask Chris Paul, it's definitely Scott Foster.
Scott Foster. But Tony Brothers is one of those guys too.
Tony Brothers, yep. But I'm sure the players are just overjoyed, right? That a judge that we see as awful
sure.
is getting out of there. So I mean, good for him for retiring. Good for him for staying as long as he did. I mean, 91. That's 23. 33 years.
Yeah, 33 years.
Yeah, I mean, good for him. But I'm not too big into baseball, so I can't really speak too much about him personally. But I mean, congrats on the career. I mean, MLB officiating. I bet he made a bunch of money. Oh my lord.
He's definitely pretty wealthy. He's definitely well off. But yeah, he's notorious on a baseball community on just being an awful umpire and making some terrible calls. So he's retired, on his career. So hope the rest of your life is fantastic. Spend it with your family, things of that nature. Finally, on this, I think we got about 1 or 2 minutes left. Oh no, actually, we're a little late. Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce at the Dallas Mavericks game. Patrick Mahomes cheered, lots of cheers, but Travis Kelce not so much. Could that be the Taylor Swift effect? Can it be? What do you think, Kev?
I think it is. I don't know. I think it like because throughout this whole season, this past season, a lot of the games that the Chiefs had on TV, every single time they would do something or score a touchdown, they'd always pan the camera towards her. Like, I'm here to watch football. I'm not here to watch a Taylor Swift concert, to be honest with y'all. And I know it's bringing money to bring in more views, but like, I think they were overdoing it. I think it was just too much. They were doing it like way too often. So I think it is a Taylor Swift effect on the Travis Kelce.
My bad, Kev. My bad.
No, you good. You good.
What do you think, Elo?
It's kind of weird coming from Dallas. You would think that they'd be Cowboys fans and they'd boo both of them, right? But
yeah.
I mean, when you're as great as Patrick Mahomes is, it's kind of hard to not cheer for him. I mean, this man is the face of the NFL and has been for years now, really since Brady retired. He is NFL, and you think NFL, you think Patrick Mahomes, and so to see that he's liked everywhere, it's not a shock to me. I think Travis Kelce does get a little bit of that T Swift effect now. But I personal enjoyment. I like Travis better. I love the podcast he's got with Jason, and so just as a outgoing character, I like him more. So it's more personal preference, but I could definitely understand why Patty is getting those cheers for sure.
Yeah, obviously you guys know how big of a Patrick Mahomes fan I am. So I mean, it was cool. Didn't really mean too much to me personally. I know it was kind of like a big story going on. Travis Kelce booed, but Mahomes cheered. I mean, I guess it is what it is. And so we're definitely gonna get more into football later in the show. So stay tuned for that. But so that is the conclusion of Tuesday, May 28th. Something to chew on. And as always, or something that we're gonna do after every big game, after every big sporting event, we're gonna go over a little version of Gumball's recap of whatever big game would happen, whether it was Eastern Conference Finals game, Western Conference Finals game, Finals game that's gonna be coming up. We're gonna do football games, and but in terms of today, yesterday was game 4 of Boston Celtics, Indiana Pacers, the sweep the Indiana Pacers in 4 games. And one of those reasons is because the Celtics have a lot of great players and a lot of key role players on that team. But sometimes the stars just need to shine brightest in the moments in which they
the crowd on its feet, hoping their Pacers can pull it out and send the series to Boston. Nembhard down the lane, goes inside, blocked by Brown, and Horford the rebound.
Yes, that was your Eastern Conference Finals MVP, Jaylen Brown, him making probably the biggest defensive play for the Celtics the entire season. So again, he had a great night, 29 points, 11 for 22 shooting, 4 for 8 from 3. Great night last night, and is well deserved that Eastern Conference Finals MVP. Now, speaking of those role players, one of the most important role players, one of the 2 possibly most important role players in the league, second team all defense, hits his big shots when he needs to, and he showed you why last night.
Brown on the drive, pulls back, lost the ball, got it back, kicks it out. White, corner 3, bang! Derek White from downtown, Celtics by 3.
And that other big time role player, stop me if you've heard this before. Big time, big play. Drew Holiday comes up big again and seals a NBA final spot for the Boston Celtics.
Up top, Tatum, shot clock at 6. Tatum, step back, puts up another 3. Back of the room, won't go. Holiday, the offensive rebound. Now the Pacers have to foul. Brown has it, final seconds. That's it. It's over. The Celtics are heading back to the NBA Finals.
And as we bring D'Lo and Kev back in, again, we mentioned it here in the first segment and something to chew on. Kev, I'll start with you. I know you meant a few words in the first segment in terms of this series. But I mean, gotta admit, Indiana played well without their best player. They put up a fight. I think, but it's just some late turnovers that really changed the series and turned it around for Boston.
Honestly, in yesterday's game 4, they played very well actually. Like they was it game 4? It was game 4, right?
Game 4. Yep.
Yeah, they were up throughout the game basically, and then, like you said, in the fourth quarter they collapsed and they choked the game. But it was overall a good game for them. I was thinking that they probably could have stole one, and then probably could have pushed it to 5, but it's just the turnovers causing the game. And like you said, Jaylen Brown stepped up when you needed him the most. And overall, that team is just too talented and too stacked overall for any team to stop them in the East. And it was just, it's like this run reminds me of like the 2017 Warriors when KD first joined that squad, where they steamrolled through the West. It kind of reminds me of the Celtics team where they had no competition in the East at all in this whole entire playoffs.
What you think, D'Lo?
Yeah, I'm so impressed with this Pacers squad. Again, without Hallie, they really should be up 3-1 right now. And I know me and you have talked about it. We talked about it yesterday, saying that they should be up 2-1. And after tonight or yesterday's game, they should have been up 3-1. Like I mentioned, they were up 8 with 5.5 minutes left, and then scored 4 points the rest of the game. And so, it just cost them down the stretch not having Hallie. It really cost them. They didn't have that playmaker to get some offense flowing. But I like their supporting pieces. Obviously, Miles Turner didn't have that great of a game yesterday. He had that technical foul, that little skirmish with Jaylen Brown, but the rest of the role players showed out. I mean, especially Andrew Nembhard, 24, 10 and 6. You have TJ McConnell with 15, 4 and 5 off the bench. Obi Toppin put in 12. Aaron Nesmith put up 14. And so you have just a good group of role players. And Pascal didn't play all that well tonight. I wish he would have played a little bit, or yesterday. I wish he would have played a little bit better. But again, I'm excited for this Pacers squad. They're going to be really good in the years to come. But I think the key for Boston, and I say it over and over and over, Derek White is the engine of the team. And you saw it, right? Who was taking that final shot? It was not Jason Tatum. It was not Jaylen Brown. It was Derek White, and he made it. And he didn't even shoot that well. Before that 3, he was 1 for 8. So it just shows you the confidence that they have in him to make the right play, make the good play. But I will say I'm glad that they gave Eastern Conference MVP to Jaylen Brown. I think he deserved it out of everyone on that team. And if it wasn't Jaylen Brown, I definitely think it should have been either Derek White or Drew Holiday that got it. I don't even think Tatum was in the conversation, because really those MVP awards for conferences are based off of the entire run. And I think those 3 have outperformed Tatum over the course of the entire playoffs. But I saw that video of him in the locker room. He was really happy because, in his words, he never gets anything like this. So I hope he enjoys it for sure.
I definitely back a lot of what you said, D'Lo, and here's the thing. This Pacers team is going to be a problem for years to come. We're gonna have our special guest on here in about, I don't even know what time it is, here in about 5 minutes or so. And he knows all about this young Pacers team. Believe me. And when I tell you, Andrew Nembhard is going to be a star. I don't know if he could be a number one, but he can be a number two. He's going to be a star. He makes most of the right plays. Right now, those games, game 3, game 4, you're going to need somebody else to kind of make those plays. I don't know if he's going to be able to make those plays in those big time moments, but Andrew Nembhard, for the most part, star, played absolutely out of his mind. Yesterday, he had 24 points, 10 assists. Game 3, he had 32 points, 9 assists, and he's efficient. Yesterday, he was what? He was 10 of 18 and 36 from 3.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Game 3, he was 11 for 21. So he's not just jacking up shots hoping that they're going in. He's putting up efficient shots and they're going in and he's hitting them. And crucial times. I mean, he had 12 points in the third quarter last night when they absolutely needed it. And I cannot say enough about Andrew Nembhard. I love Andrew Nembhard. Aaron Nesmith. I mean, he just plays. He reminds me of Josh Hart. He is the Indiana Pacers Josh Hart because he does everything for that team. He gets the 50-50 balls. He can hit big time shots, right? He plays great defense. He goes all out on defense. And that's another point I want to bring up. Aaron Nesmith was guarding Jason Tatum the entire series. Jason Tatum won't see a defender like Nesmith in Dallas. And I say Dallas because I imagine we all agree that Dallas is going to go to the finals. But he's not going to see another defender like Nesmith. And so Jason Tatum might be able to eat. Hopefully he's able to eat in the finals. But I cannot say enough about this Pacers team. I love Pascal Siakam. I wish he could have played better yesterday. He had a late turnover in the game, as well as Nembhard, that kind of turned the game around and was allowed the Celtics to get back in the game and take the lead and win that game. So again, but I loved watching this Pacers team throughout the whole playoffs. They play so hard. They play together. They play as a team. And the fact that they just get out and run and their fast-paced offense is so fun to watch as well. So I love them. When it comes to Boston, they're just too good. They're too good. They have too many guys that make big-time plays whenever they need them, right? Obviously, you have your two superstars in Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. But when you throw in guys like Derek White, when you got throwing guys like Drew Holiday who make big-time shots, who make big-time defensive plays when you absolutely need them. Al Horford, the same thing. Game 3, it seems like whenever he needs to make a big-time 3, he made it, right? He can also give you some good defense. Yes, he's 38, but he can also give you some solid defense on the other end. So the Celtics team is just so deep, and then Porzingis is supposed to be coming back sometime. I don't know when. Hopefully for Game 1 of the finals. But then you have guys like Peyton Pritchard who can come in and knock down a 3 off the bench. Sam Hauser who can come in, knock a 3, play a little bit of defense. So this team is so deep. They play so together. Joe Mazzulla is, I'm a big fan. He's 35-year-old coach, one of the youngest coaches in the league, and he's gone to 2 conference finals and an NBA finals. And I believe he went to the NBA finals in 2022. I believe he was a head coach then. Or no, it might have been Ime Udoka. But so the Celtics are too good, man. I mean, now again, not to knock them, but they have played some hobbled teams. They played the Cavs without Donovan Mitchell. They played the Bucks without Giannis, right? And when they played the Pacers without Halliburton from Game 2 until Game 4, and then you had Kevin, like you said, Dame didn't play I think 2 games in that first series. Or no, who do they play?
The Heat.
They played the Heat.
No
I'm
Jimmy,
tweaking. I'm thinking
no
it's
Terry.
I'm thinking it's the Papers. Yeah, the Heat. So they played without Jimmy and without Terry. But they've done exactly what they're supposed to do. They're 12-2 so far in the playoffs. They've lost 2 games. They lost one to Cleveland and they lost one to Miami. The other than that, they're on a 7-game win streak right now. So it's going to be interesting, very interesting to see in this final series. Again, I'm imagining we all think it's going to be Dallas. But Jason Tatum's going to have to step up. Jaylen Brown's been the best player on the Celtics. He's been the best player on the Celtics throughout the whole playoff run. And a well-deserved Eastern Conference Finals MVP. So are they going to be able to step up? So
I got some about the Pacers. You know how you said they're like a team to come where they're gonna be contending for like years to come in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
I think they're missing a piece. It could be a wing. It could be another two guard, or it could be like a player off the bench. But I think a good addition.
Real quick, my bad. Before you say anything, who did I tell this? I think I told actually our guest coming up here in a few seconds. I told him last night. I don't be surprised if you see a Paul George Indiana reunion.
I was about to say Paul George as well.
Right
I was about to say Paul George as well.
And I knew I had a feeling too. I was like, I got to get it out so they don't think I'm copying. Okay, but go ahead, Kevin. My bad for interrupting you.
No, because I was about to say Paul George as well, and I feel like it's just the right timing. I mean, you slide him in at the 3 spot. That's perfect right there. You have a two-way, shot creating threat. He can play as a second option to Pascal or Tyrese, or he can play as a main option some nights too. Like, I think you plug him into that starting lineup, and I think it's gonna work well perfectly. And I think that could help him not possibly get over the hump of maybe Boston or the Bucks, but it could give them like another good solid piece where they can contend with those top teams in the East.
Yeah, I think, and D'Lo, if you have something to say, I'm just gonna be real quick. I think they're 1 star away. Whether that star may be Paul George or maybe they trade for a Donovan Mitchell or whoever it is. I think they're 1 star away. So
no, I mean I agree. I would love to see a reunion. I don't know how feasible it is.
Yeah.
The Clippers are going to do everything they can to try and retain him, because we still have yet to see a healthy Kawhi PG full run in the playoffs. Obviously there was the bubble, and PG, we called him Pandemic P, obviously did not play well at all in the bubble. But since then in the playoffs, he's been great. They beat that number 1 seeded Jazz team when they were healthy. And then Kawhi obviously went out with that partial ACL tear. But I think the Clippers, now that they have Harden, they want Kawhi there obviously still, are going to do everything they can to retain him. So as interesting as it would be, as much as I would love to see it, I just don't know how feasible it is for them to actually go out and get
Isn't
him.
Harden on his last deal? Like he's gonna be a free agent after in this offseason, or
he's an unrestricted free agent this year. So
they might lose a couple of their stars.
And it's gonna be interesting. But I don't want to make him wait any longer. He is our special guest. You guys have seen him before. I love this guy to death. He knows that. And before I even say his name, I'm gonna play this clip. D'Lo, Kev, you guys haven't seen this. I'm gonna play this clip, and this is all the introduction that he needs.
Well. Look at that, eh? Dog shit ass player. Look at you, 8 points. You scored fucking 8 points. I could tell you that DeAndre Ayton would have did better than that bullshit. You're fucking garbage, nigga. I hope you know that. To Cancun it is. Look at you. Oh, and you tell that little skinny fuck, Tyrese Shitburton, that he's dog shit also. Tell him, oh, maybe if he played, you guys might have had a chance. But fuck no, brother. He's fucking dog shit. You tell them other randoms on your team, them other 60 overalls, Neesmith, if that's his fucking name, tell that black ass nigga he sucks. I just want you guys to know, if Giannis was there, it would have been a different situation.
Jesse Turn, you guys have seen him before. Big Jess. Jess, what's going on, bro? Oh, hey, you mute it.
Okay, I'm good. You hear me?
Yeah, again, yeah. Jess, what's going on, bro? How you feeling about your brother Miles Turner there?
Feeling great, you know what I'm saying? Sent them home finally. Somebody. Been waiting.
Now, obviously I mentioned it earlier, and everybody who's familiar with the show knows that you're a big Bucks fan, obviously. So what I want to ask you is the first thing I want to ask. First thing, what is your reaction to Boston, making it all the way to the finals, advancing and getting there with ease almost?
I mean, it was kind of expected. In my opinion, I feel like Boston's had the easiest schedule of the playoff. Um, that's not taken away from their talent because obviously they're still a good team. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody knew they were going to be one of the teams in the finals.
Y'all good?
Yeah.
But D-Lo, Kev? Yeah.
Well, being the Bucks fan that you are, healthy, if they make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, healthy Giannis, healthy Dame, you think they stand a chance against this Celtics squad?
Now now that I'm a Bucks fan, so obviously I'm gonna say yes, but it would be a really, really hard series because we've seen Boston before, but also in the regular season we played really well against them. Because how many times did the Bucks play Boston? I'm trying to remember.
It's
3.
3 or 4
They played them
times.
3 this year.
3.
Oh, was it 4?
It's either 3 or 4.
It's either 3 or 4, yeah.
Okay. So I remember the game where we was blowing them out by 50, and I don't know. It was a minute ago, so it's kind of hard to say. But if we went and played Boston, in my opinion, I feel like we're winning because Boston is a good team. We all know that. Starting 5, great starting 5. But bench, they have no bench at all. I mean, Pritchard, yeah, you can say that, but everybody else, them playing Jason Tatum and them 36, damn near 40 minutes, I feel like it wouldn't work there. And Al Horford's not guarding Giannis, in my opinion. And even the same thing goes for us though too, because Dame won't be able to hold, whoever he's guarding. So I would say we'd win, but it'd go to 7. That would be my take on it.
My question for you, Jesse, is this Bucks team like what you guys have right now? The roster you guys have constructed around Giannis. Is it a team where you're confident for them going all the way and winning it all, or do you think they're
Definitely.
going to like move like pieces around and bring in other players?
I'm kind of on both sides because on one side it's like, we're a good team. Even without Giannis, the Bucks were playing great, and that surprised me all the way. Even getting those 2 games against the Pacers, great. I didn't even think that was going to happen. And even without Dame, they won, So, but it's also like when I'm watching, I love Brook Lopez. I love him. But when I'm watching him sit at the 3-point line damn near the whole game, it pisses me off real bad because it's like, you got to be in the paint. You're too big to be out there. I feel like they give him too much freedom. But, well, other than that, I mean, Pat Bev, he's been all right. Everybody know how Pat Bev gets. So I feel like that was a good fit. But I feel like we're good as a team. This is their first year together. Made it to the playoffs. That's all. I mean, I feel like that's good. But hopefully, without injuries, we can make it farther next year. But yeah, I feel like we're a good team.
As a Bucks fan, do you want Chris Middleton still there with y'all, or do you want them to move Chris Middleton?
See, I want Chris Middleton there. That's he fits in there. He may not, during the regular season, he may not. Some games he may not do as much as he needs to do, but he still, I'll take the 12 points. I'll take the 15 points because that's just added on. Now we have another big scorer, Dame, on our team. So it's kind of like those 15 points might help, and especially what he did with that game against the Pacers. I don't know what Middleton. I don't know where that Middleton's been, but hopefully we can see that again next year. Hopefully.
For me, the best ability is availability. And with Chris having his previous injuries, he was out for an extended amount of time.
Yeah.
Like, do you think that is something scary and something to watch out for? Where maybe long term with Chris Middleton, when you have Giannis on your team, is something to watch out for or to be concerned of?
I mean, yeah, it's definitely scary to think about because even without Middleton, I feel like Giannis and them go off. They're real good teammates and they're real close. I feel like so they love playing with each other. So I feel like him being hurt might affect the team, but we just got to watch out for injuries. Like even with Giannis, he got injured last game before the playoffs.
A few games, I think like 3 or 4 games.
Yeah,
actually in a game against Boston.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, and so it's tough. So what I want to. So you obviously D'Lo mentioned Chris Middleton and if he should go. Say the Bucks run it back, right? They bring the big three back: Dame, Middleton, Giannis, and obviously over the offseason they're gonna move some pieces around.
Mm-hmm.
If you make another run at it again next year, and it doesn't work. I mean, Dame's not getting no younger, Giannis is not getting no younger, and Middleton ain't getting no younger. If you run it back again next year, and it doesn't work again, do you break it up? Do you give it another try for a third year? What would you do?
I feel like giving it some time, at least 2, maybe 3 years at most. And then if it's not working, if it's the same, first round exit, then I feel like that's when things need to be changed up. And I feel like I don't know, the Bucks are really, they can go off, but the thing is they also let once we hit that fourth quarter, they start letting teams go by or come back off a lead at that. And I really like Bobby Portis's performance too, because a lot of people really sleep on Bobby Portis, but he's been a real big key this whole season.
So I think the thing that surrounds the Bucks, and we heard rumors of it all year long, is that Dame is just not enjoying his time in Milwaukee. He doesn't really like playing with Giannis.
Mm-hmm.
If it doesn't work next year, do you envision him requesting a trade? Do you envision him leaving? Like, what is the scenario around that if he is unhappy?
Right. I feel like if he wants to leave, they can't. It's not much. If he wants to go, then you gotta let him go. But I feel like he wouldn't leave because I also feel like a lot of people. I was seeing that a lot, like in the comments and everything, and he should have went to the Heat and just a whole bunch of But it's also like he's going through what he was going through with his personal life while trying to add that on top of basketball. Trying to be able to now you're with a whole new team, new chemistry, new everything. You got to learn how to be able to lock in with your team. So I feel like he just had a lot on his plate at the time. I feel like after that playoffs performance, even though they were first round exits, I feel like after that playoff performance, he feels comfortable. To me, that's what it looks like. It looks like he's enjoying playing with them, even without Giannis. He stepped up because we know what Dame can do. We know Dame's a shooter. So I feel like he'll stay, but like I said, if he leaves, then it is what it is.
All right, so I got one more for you, and then Kev's got one more. The last one I want to ask, finals predictions. Obviously, Dallas being up 3-0, Boston already in the finals. Let's just say, for sake of argument, Dallas and Boston in the finals. Who are you taking and how many games? And your finals MVP?
Finals MVP too. So I want the Mavs. I want the Mavs to win. I wouldn't mind seeing Kyrie with the ring. at all. I would love to see that. And Luka, because they both deserve it. We all know that.
We can agree to disagree, but
yeah. But I don't know. I think I got Dallas in 7, and I feel like it's Finals MVP is out of Luka and Kyrie. I mean, I feel like it's gonna be Kyrie though, in my opinion.
Go ahead, Kev.
All right, one
One more
last
for you.
question is back on the Bucks topic. When you brought up about bringing this squad back and seeing 2-3 more years with this squad, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if we look at it from from a realistic standpoint, I mean, how old is Dame? Like 36, 35, 36?
30.
No,
Then-
Dame is 33,
30.
I think, or 32.
I thought he was like 34.
33, yeah.
It's somewhere in there.
Is he?
He's
right.
he's around that age.
And then Middleton's like what, 33 as well, right?
Yeah.
And then Giannis is also, he just reached 30, right?
Yep.
So I mean, you got all these guys who just Giannis is reaching 30, but
Mm-hmm.
Giannis isn't gonna be like this Greek freak all the way until he's like late 30s. He has a couple of years left of being this great, being this dominant. Dame, you don't know when he'll drop off significantly. And Middleton, he's shown flashes that he can, so he still got it, but he's also shown flashes where he goes for like 0 for 10 basically. So I mean, this squad isn't gonna, like, they're not in the prime anymore besides Giannis basically. And with 2 or 3 years of running it back, maybe do you think maybe it's the window's a lot shorter than what you expected?
Oh shit! My shit's taking. My bad. Well, now I feel like since that's the situation. I mean, yes, they are getting older, and they're not always going to be. Me personally, I feel like Giannis is going to be a minute before you can be like, oh, he's not good. He don't got it no more. Because I mean, to say I'm not trying to compare him to LeBron, but LeBron's almost 40, still carrying a team by himself. I mean, not by. I mean, you could say by himself.
A big part of it. Big part of it is LeBron.
Yeah, big part of it. That's what I'm saying. And me personally, I feel like Giannis will be able to go. Maybe not 40, maybe, around 37, 38, he might start getting a little not being able to carry a team by himself. But I feel like now we have to start building up our bench players and building up the role players, start making some switches. I'm not looking forward to when all of them are, done. Not looking forward to it at all. But yeah, I feel like we'll be good as long as we build our team. The young players that are coming, we got a lot of good, role players on our team. So yeah, I feel like if we build around them later on in the season, we'll be good.
Hey, Jesse, I appreciate you joining us for a few minutes, bro. I know obviously you see off day you're trying to spend some time with. Oh.
He's out of here. He's out of here.
All right, obviously, I'll call him after this. But Jesse, big shout out to him. Appreciate you, bro, for joining us for a few minutes. As always, we're gonna have him on more often, obviously, within the finals and NBA free agency and the draft coming up. So you'll be seeing a lot more of Jesse, Big Jess, as we like to call him. So, again, shout out to him for joining us for a few minutes. So. But our final topic of the day, I know D-Lo's been wanting to do this for a little while. I'm prepared for it. I took my little notes for it, so I got my predictions. But our way too early Super Bowl predictions. It is never too early to make any predictions for the Super Bowl. Obviously, we're huge football fans. So, who wants to go first? Or D-Lo, do you want to go first?
I actually want to hear Kevin's opinion first before I give mine.
I'm kind of intrigued too. So so we'll go. Kevin, you go and do yours, and then D-Lo, and then I'll go last.
Is it possible?
He's not a super big not like his team is not of the caliber to win a Super Bowl yet. Obviously, Jamal is a Cardinals fan, and they're not in a position either. But he's also a Patrick Mahomes fan, so you know who he's picking in the AFC side.
Oh yeah.
But
Oh yeah.
with Kevin, it's kind of a toss up, so that's why I want to see him first.
I mean, with Jamal being a Mahomes fan and with Brady being out of the league, my favorite quarterback right now is probably Joe Shiesty. And I think Cincy they can probably bring it back to the Super Bowl like how they did against the Rams that year. But the AFC is just so stacked. Like you have teams that like Baltimore that's still gonna be up there contending. Like them and the Bengals, like that's a toss up for the number one team in the AFC North right there. And then you have the Chiefs, of course. And then also you have the Texans. They've been stacking up with a bunch of stars on their squad as well. Bringing in Stephon Diggs, bringing in like CJ Stroud his second year. You know, you got receivers Tank Dell, Nico Collins, Don Schultz. Bring in Joe Mixon. Like you have stars on this offense, and then the defense is only going to get better with Will Anderson. You know, winning defensive rookie of the year last year. You know that team is up there too. But realistically, I think the heavy favorite is maybe Kansas City. Jamal hearing that's probably gonna be happy right now. But
I'm not surprised.
I do want to see, and it could happen. I do want to see Cincy getting back into that spot. You know, winning the AFC, and then on the NFC side of things, you know, the D-Lo's team, the Niners, is going to be up there contending. Philly might drop down this year, but they also they're still going to win the NFC East, in my opinion. NFC South, no one really sees any of those teams as contenders on that side of the ball. And then on the NFC North, I mean, Green Bay looked amazing the second half of the season last year. Jordan Love's only going to get better. I mean, he played phenomenal after a couple of shaky games in the first half of the season. And then you got the Lions, who I think, you know, a lot of teams are expecting to be good this upcoming season. And I think Detroit might actually – it could be a reach, but I could possibly see Detroit going to the Super Bowl this year.
So who's your prediction?
The predictions I want to see is the Bengals and the Lions, but realistically, it might be another 49ers.
Hey, also, my bad, not to interrupt you. Text me your predictions because I'm gonna put them up on one of the because I know the craziest hell back there, but I'm gonna start decorating this wall back here, make me add like an actual nice little setup. So I'm gonna put the predictions up on the wall, and make sure that by February of 2025, we'll see who is closest.
Are we gonna
text me your predictions.
Are we gonna do like beginning of the season, then week 4, week 8, like mid of the season, and like going, or
no? So honestly, the most we'll do these, and then we'll wait until the Friday before week 1. No, the Thursday before the first game of the season, to make sure that we can make our predictions right now, and then we can and then we'll see if there's any injuries that happen or anything, and then the day of week 1 we'll make our official predictions.
And then are we gonna have like another one like halfway through the season, and then one before right before the playoffs, or no?
Nope.
Oh damn! Because I was hoping we could do that.
No. We're week 1, and they're set in stone. We're not changing them. So that's why I want you guys to really think and really take this into consideration on who you think, and because this is big. So I really want you guys to take into consideration who you're choosing. All right. Well, because we got a few minutes left in the show. D'Lo, I want you to go while Kevin, you think of who your prediction is, and then right. I'll go right after you.
I'm in the same boat as Kev. I think in each conference there are 4 teams that I am picking to be like the top dogs of each conference, and I'll start in the NFC because that one's more of the the surefire way to go. Obviously, as a Niner fan, I think that we're still the best team in the NFC. Not a whole lot has changed. I know that there's some contract issues with Brandon Ayuk, and we're figuring if we're going to trade him, potentially Debo. You know, there's some stuff going on. But even then, I still think that we are the team to beat in the NFC. I think the Eagles will be there. They've made some good moves this offseason. I like Detroit and I like Green Bay. But if I had to give my predictions at the NFC, I have to go with the Niners coming off of a Super Bowl loss. They're going to be hungry. Later in the season, Dre Greenlaw is going to come back. He's the key piece. We have Hufanga coming back on the defense. And so, you know, the thing that scares me with them is the secondary, but I'm sure we'll address that at another time. In the AFC, though, it's tight, and I think it's going to come down to coaching. And that's why between the 4 teams that I'm picking, the Bengals, the Chiefs, the Texans, and then the Ravens, it's going to come down to coaching. We obviously know Andy Reid, but I'm a big fan. As a Niner fan, I hated to see him leave. I am a big fan of DeMeco Ryans and that Texan squad over there. You know, adding Stephon Diggs, adding Joe Mixon. They still got Tank Dell, and, you know, they're going to be so fun to watch. The Ravens picking up Derrick Henry to bolster that offense was phenomenal. But if I had to pick right now, finals or Super Bowl prediction, I'm going San Francisco, and I'm going with the Baltimore Ravens in the Super Bowl. And I will take the Niners, being the bias that I am.
Fair enough. So here's the keys. I wrote down a bunch of keys for the reason why I chose my Super Bowl picks. Number 1, can Joe Burrow stay healthy? If Joe Burrow stays healthy, he's going to put up a heck of a fight for that AFC spot in the Super Bowl, because that's a loaded team over there. Right now, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, neither of them are showing up to OTAs because they're both looking for a new contract. So hopefully they get that figured out. But if Joe Burrow stays healthy, they're going to put up a wicked fight for that spot in the AFC in the Super Bowl. Number 2, Lamar Jackson. Can he perform in the playoffs? You bring in one of the best running backs of the recent decade in Derrick Henry, right? Yes, an older Derrick Henry, but he's still very good, very productive. Can that run game expand? Right? Can that run game expand? Can it open up the pass game for guys like Rashad Bateman, Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews, who was hurt last year, coming back healthy, right? So Lamar Jackson, can you perform in the playoffs? Obviously, we saw you in the AFC Championship, right? That dominant run game, didn't see any of that in the AFC Championship. Can you show up? Can you play in the playoffs like you do in the regular season, Mr. MVP? Number 3, Brock Purdy is going to lose one of his weapons, whether it's Debo or whether it's Ayuk. Two guys who are phenomenal receivers. Now, I'm a fan of Brock Purdy, but I also don't think he's an elite quarterback in this league. I don't believe that. I don't believe he's an elite quarterback in this league. So I don't know if he'll be able to perform without one of his top guys. Obviously, if you lose Debo, you have Ayuk, Juwan Jennings, you still have Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, right? Or if you lose Debo, if you lose Ayuk, you still have Debo, you still have Juwan Jennings, McCaffrey, Kittle, guys like that. Will he be able to perform with one less weapon that he has? Obviously, that team is loaded, always has been. Number 3, Eagles. The Eagles don't play. They play great in the regular season. I have them falling in the divisional round. I think they'll play well. Obviously, you bring in a Saquon Barkley to help that run game, to be able to open up that passing game a little bit for Jalen Hurts. But are they going to be able to perform in the playoffs? Right? I have them. I think they'll win the NFC East. I don't think they'll get out of the divisional round. So that's another big thing for that. So my 2, and I'm going to give you my 2 reasons why really quickly. I know we're going a little over. My Super Bowl picks. Of course, Kansas City Chiefs, the best player in the world, the best tight end to ever play this game, one of the best coaches to ever coach in this game, Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. You bring in Hollywood Brown, right? You bring in Xavier Worthy. Guess what's coming back for the Chiefs? The deep ball, right? Last year, we're just taking the defense, whatever the defense gives us. This year, they brought in speed. They brought in, deep threats. So that deep ball is coming back. And that cannon of an arm that Mahomes got on our right shoulder is coming back. And you're going to see why. I wouldn't be surprised if he won another MVP this year. So that's one. My NFC pick, the Detroit Lions. Obviously, Jared Goff just got paid, right? I think he's going to take another step this year. Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's going to take another step this year. A top 5 receiver in this league, right? You have Sam Laporta, who's also, I believe, is going to take another step, right? You're bringing back Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, that 1-2 punch and power and speed combo in the backfield. That's still a dynamic duo, right? Jamison Williams, a deep threat, right? And I think the defense is going to take another step. Obviously, you have young guys like Kirby Joseph, Aiden Hutchinson. I think those guys are going to take huge leaps this year, right? So, and obviously Dan Campbell, fantastic coach. That's the guy you want to run through a wall for. So, I love those are my picks. Those are my picks for the Super Bowl. Chiefs, Lions. Again, guys, text me. And actually, Kevin, go ahead. I forgot you still got to make your pick.
I kind of wish I went after D'Lo because after thinking about it, after what D'Lo was talking about, after D'Lo finished, I knew exactly who I'm picking as my Super Bowl picks. And then you picked the Lions because that was gonna be my pick for the NFC side. Because that offense was up there with many of the other teams in the playoffs as well. That they had like a top 3 offense as well. So my pick on the NFC side is gonna be Detroit, and then the counterpart on the AFC side, my pick is gonna be the Bengals.
All right, you heard it here first. I got Chiefs, Lions. Kevin's got Bengals, Lions. D'Lo's got 49ers, Ravens. Hey, listen. That's gonna. Well, never mind. Thought I had a outro song. It's not playing. Well, gotta love live streams. But that's gonna wrap it up for today's Tuesday edition of the Gumball Sports Machine. We're back again tomorrow, 10 a.m., just like every weekday from now on. Again, very excited to be doing this. I'm very much looking forward to the consistency and doing this every day with, not only with you guys, but, of course, you guys, like, my co-hosts in a way. But then also, we're going to have guests on. We're going to have a bunch of people on. So I'm definitely too excited to be doing this. So, again, that's going to wrap it up for today's edition of the show. For D'Lo, for Kev, and for yours truly, Jamal Gumo, a.k.a. Gumball. We're back tomorrow, 10 a.m., same time, 10 to 11. I know we went a little over today. It was a great show, and we're going to have another great one tomorrow. So, finally, we're out.